Alright, welcome back to part 2 on the Magnavox MDR515 DVD and hard disk recorder. I did go ahead and order some 15 volt Zener diodes. And because I didn't have any in stock, I went ahead and ordered some 1000 microfarad 6.3 volt caps to replace those two bad caps on the main board also. So let's get those installed and see if this thing actually is going to power up at this point. Alright, here we go. I've got the lights turned down, power the unit on, and I get dashes on the clock display. Well, that's a very good sign. That tells me the main microprocessor is actually doing something. So next I'm going to go ahead and start changing the caps on the DVD recorder board and the single bad cap on the hard drive board. Alright, so one thing that I find useful, if I don't want to do an actual drawing roadmap, I'm going to go ahead and take my phone and I'm just going to go ahead and grab a picture of the board with all the component placement. That way if I need to, I can go back into it and I can zoom in and I can see the capacitors and their placement and their polarity. So just make sure that you use a good high quality resolution picture, and so that way you can see every capacitor and you can actually read the voltages on them just in case you make a mistake. Okay, so I've got all my capacitors ready. They're all separated by the value. And if you've noticed, I did not unplug the optical pickup right here because I want to retain that ESD protection that the board provides for the optical pickup. So I'm going to move the camera to a little bit different perspective while I do a time lapse of removing and replacing all of these capacitors. Hopefully it stays in frame. If not, hopefully you'll get the gist of it. So one thing you want to look out for if you're changing these caps yourself is to not get a bridge between like this little pad right here and either one of these pads, because this pad is not connected to either one of these. So when you're doing these caps, if you're going to do it yourself, make sure you look very closely and make sure that you don't have any bridged pads, because there are several mounting locations where that pad right there is not connected to this lead. So if you have a solder bridge right there, it will ruin your day very quickly. Once again right there, Make sure that you're not bridged anywhere on any of the connections on the capacitors that you change. So all of the suspect capacitors have been replaced with good, high-quality electrolytic capacitors, radio-leaded instead of surface mounts because they do last much longer. And I did stand them all up because I do believe that there is enough room on this board because it sits a little bit lower in the chassis, not like on the DVD VCR combos where I have to fold some of the capacitors over. There's really no size limitation on these. I think I'm going to have probably 2 or 3 millimeters clearance between the top case and the tallest capacitors, which are the 330 microfarad capacitors right here. So next, let's go ahead and change that one suspect capacitor on the hard drive board. All right, now we're ready to go ahead and throw this thing back together and see if we get better results. But before I go ahead and throw it all together, I still have the board loose right here. I want to go ahead and pop the top off and clean the optical pickup. So this one is a little bit different, so hopefully it will work out. So I'm going to release this tab and this tab. Lift this plate out of the way. And then just like on the DVD VCR combos, we're going to release these 4 tabs. And then we can just go ahead and pull the shield completely off right there. And then there is the optical pickup. Let me go ahead and zoom in on that. And just look at the amount of dust on that thing. Definitely is going to need a cleaning. So I just blew it off with some compressed air, and you can see the difference that that made right there. But let's go ahead and get our regular household glass cleaner, nothing with ammonia, because I do not want it to strip the optical coating off of the lens. Okay, regular cotton swab, just moistened, not soaked with glass cleaner. I do not want any to run down inside. And I'm just going to apply very, very gentle pressure, probably just a few grams of pressure. And I'm going to use circular motions. And then I'm going to dry it off with the dry end. Same thing, rotating the cotton swab and using circular motions at the same time. And take a look at the difference. So I think it's time to go ahead and reassemble the unit, and I'll try to burn the DVD, make sure it burns it, finalizes it, and we can play it back. All right, so I have the unit completely reassembled. It does power up successfully. I have it in the DVD mode. I'm going to go ahead and open the drawer. I'll pop a disc in it. I have my capture device connected. We'll see if it reads this disc that was recorded on a Magnavox DVD VCR combo. And it did read the table of contents. Let's go ahead and hit play and see if it actually plays with sound. We'll skip a couple chapters into it. And that's it. It is playing. So next I'm going to go ahead and access the customer's hard drive and see if it has any data on it. And we'll see if we can get it to load as well. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to the hard drive mode. Let's stop the DVD, switch it over to hard drive, and see what we get. And there definitely is some stuff recorded on here. 65 tracks total. Let's just go ahead and play one of the tracks. And it is playing. Actually has a really good picture. I'm very surprised at the picture quality. So next I'm going to go ahead and try to copy the customer's hard drive onto a blank DVD and make sure it actually copies successfully. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put a blank DVD-R into the DVD drive. And we'll see if it can recognize it as a blank DVD-R. And it does know it is a blank DVD-R, so I'm going to go ahead and set this up for a 1-hour dub. I'm not quite sure how to do the dubbing on this unit. I'll have to step through the menu, so just bear with me for a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and dub this. It says it's 58 minutes and 58 seconds long. I'll probably have to finalize the disc once it's over, but let's go ahead and dub it and see what happens. All right, here we go. So the disc is really sped up. I'm wondering if it's dubbing in a high-speed mode. Well, we'll check back in a little bit and see what happens. Okay, well, the disc has finished recording. Let's go ahead and bring up the disc menu and see what we get. And it says I have 6 minutes and 30 seconds unrecorded. So let's go into the menu. And we'll go to Disk Edit. And I will finalize this disc, which incidentally only took about 10 minutes to copy a 1-hour disc, so it definitely did it in the high-speed dubbing mode. So I'm going to say finalize yes, and if everything is successful, we'll see that bar graph go up to 100%, and then that second one that says 6 minutes left over will not be there any longer. All right, well, there we go. Let's go ahead and play it back now and make sure it plays correctly. It looks good.
지금까지 잘 던지고 있었는데요. 경기 후반에서 흔들리고 있습니다. 건강도 마찬가지 아니겠습니까? 인생 후반 관리가 중요한데 말이죠. 지금
Let's skip ahead a little bit. Well, everything looks good. I think that's it. The repair on the Magnavox hard disk drive DVD recorder. It only had a few bad parts. Anyhow, it's up and running once again. Somewhere down in there is that little Zener diode that caused those problems after the main filter caps failed. So the customer asked me if he thought that adding a surge suppressor would keep this from happening in the future. And my answer is no, it will not. Failing capacitors fail regardless of the incoming AC power. So what happened on this unit is the capacitors just started to get weak. They generated heat, which made them weaker, which generated more heat, which made them weaker, and that's why they failed. And because the feedback circuit monitors the 5-volt line, when that voltage began to drop, it tried to compensate by pumping up the voltage on the other outputs, and it got above that 15-volt range, plus that 1 in 4005 diode. And so that's what shorted that 15-volt Zener diode, and eventually shut the power supply down. That was like the safeguard right there. Anyhow, adding a surge protector, no, probably not going to help. A surge protector would help against spikes. Spikes that could damage the AC input circuit. But because this is a switch mode power supply, they are very forgiving about most transients. So adding a surge protector, probably not a bad idea, but it's not going to help the capacitors from failing in the future. But because I'm using good quality Nichicon and Panasonic caps in this unit, Most likely they'll have at least double the lifespan of the original intercon caps. Anyhow, that is it, the repair on the Magnavox MDR515. I certainly hope you enjoyed the repair. Go ahead and leave me a question, a comment, a concern down below, good or bad. I try to respond to the comments when I have time. While you're down there, hit that subscribe button and like this video. It really does help my channel grow. You can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at NorCal715. You can email me norcal715videos@gmail.com. That is the best way to contact me. Please be patient. I do have a full-time job, and I do this in my spare time. Remember, with your help, we can try to keep these things out of the landfill, out of the recycle bin, and out of the e-waste facility. Everybody, thank you for making it to the end of part 2 of this video. I really do appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.